Already sharing stories during the break. Martin Short on the BT Couch. Last time we saw you was during Canada's Got Talent.
That's right.
This time, you've got a book, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I must say,
My life is a humble comedy legend.
as you are.
Yeah.
Where to even begin?
Well, it's tricky to begin. I put up cards because you know that if you start a book saying, I was born in Hamilton on March, people are just going to go right to Citytv.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you start, and it's not even name dropping, because most of the people you mentioned, that when the book starts really getting like, oh my God, here it is, he's sharing these stories, you were all just struggling artists to try and find your...
It was a very weird time, and when I started in 1972, I was still in University McMaster in Hamilton, and there was this group of people in Toronto who were all just hanging around looking to get a job. And it was Danny Aykroyd and Gilda Radner and Eugene Levy and Paul Schaefer and Andrea Martin and John Candy and on and on and on.
So who do you credit? Because it's interesting when you talk about this in the book. You're, 21 years old, pre-med student, to saying, I'm going to pursue my star in Hollywood and go after this dream. You're surrounded by all of that talent. Who do you credit as the person that helped you realize it?
Well, Eugene Levy was, a struggling actor in Toronto, and he was a couple years older than I. And I was the president of Proscenium at McMaster, which did one big musical. And I could hire the director, and I hired Eugene. And then, of course, I became the star of the musical. And at the end of that, he said, you should try this. You should try this. You should be able to look in the mirror at 50 and say, maybe you should have tried being an actor. And then you could say, oh, yeah, that's right. You did try and you failed. But at least you've tried. So I took a year off school.
And held that place just in case.
I made a contract with myself. I'll give it 1 year, and if I starve, I'm back at school.
So tell us the story of the funny woman in the flappy overalls and the pigtails.
Well, so I went to the big show that everyone wanted was Godspell in Toronto. It was going to run for a year. It was a big hit in New York, and I made it to the callback auditions at the Masonic Temple in Toronto, and everyone was there, and there were 300 callbacks, and one girl got up and with pigtails to the side, bib overalls, and sang Zippity Doo-Dah. And it was Gilda Radner. And I thought, oh, that's the saddest thing I've ever seen. That is so desperate and needy. And immediately they stood up and said, you're hired!
You're
and I thought, I got to rethink, because I was going to sing My Funny Valentine, so I had to rethink what I was going to do. And that's what they were looking for, odd, quirky, raw talent. And that day they hired, and Paul Schaefer came in. He had a girlfriend he was playing piano for. They didn't like the girlfriend, but Stephen Schwartz said, who's that guy? And they made a musical director. So it was quite a day. Eugene was picked, and Andrea, and Victor Garber. And
you all have had phenomenal careers. I mean, the characters over the years, pick and choose your favorite. We put it on social media. Somebody relates to some aspect of which you've contributed. What stands out for you for the character that you love to do for your fans?
I don't know. That's like saying to Hugh Hefner, who's your favorite day nurse, I mean, they all become extensions of you. They're all like, I'm not like Ed Grimley, what's wrong with that? But Jiminy Glick I always loved because it was all improvised. Nathan Thurm represented the dark side of lying, in the Nixon world, and Irving Cohen was one of my favorites. Jackie Rogers, I don't know.
One of the themes throughout your book that is so heartwarming and touching is the references throughout to Katharine Hepburn, and I believe that she is my personal favorite Martin Short, and it would be a bucket list thing if you would. We got to come back from the B-roll because we got to capture you. Actually, would you do it?
Sure.
Give us a little.
Oh, here it comes.
Well, I met Katharine Hepburn in 1976. She sat beside me in a theater. And I didn't talk to her because I couldn't believe she was sitting beside me, so I didn't look over. But at the end of the first act, this actress did a dramatic diatribe, and I turned to Katharine Hepburn and said, isn't she classy? And because I was talking to Hepburn just as a real person, she talked back. Oh, Rosemary Harris, a wonderful actress. She has great vitality and is able to take any scene and make it real, very much like Spencer Tracy. Great gifts, great actors.
You loving this?
And I said to Hepburn, because now I realized I was talking to Hepburn, I said, well, Miss Hepburn, you're no slouch.
Right.
And she went, thank you. And then she turned to the person, do you mind if I change seats?
No!
Because I'd broken the spell.
And you named your first daughter Katharine, but not with an A.
Yeah, no, I didn't name it after. I just like the name.
Well,
I wasn't that thrilled. Remember, she changed seats.
Yeah, right. But yeah. Gilda Radner, I think, thought that Katharine was Katharine with an A.
Yeah, Gilda made an embroidered thing with A, assuming it was A, and then I said, Gilda, you blew it. It's with an E. And she said, can you put the baby on the phone? And I held the phone up, and she's saying, tell your father you'd rather have it with an A.
So many great stories like this in the book. It is called, I must say, My Life as a Humble.
Show the back page.
So very Canadian.
Hello.
And what's so Canadian? What is the story with Tom Hanks giving you a hard time about?
Well, Tom always finds it hysterical, the quirks, the Canadian quirks, like that I had a house on Avenue Road. He said, why would you call it Avenue Road? That's like calling it Street Lane. It never dawned on me. Tiger Cats, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
But the fact that you have all of these projects, this longevity, you're about to go on Broadway, replacing Nathan Lane, by the way. It's only a play. Congratulations on that.
Inherent Vice coming out December.
Oh,
Paul
another
Thomas
one.
Anderson.
Exactly. What keeps you interested? What is the greatest reward, knowing that you've accomplished this, you've told your story here, and you continue to work?
Oh, I think it's just total fun, and the community of actors and people and creative people you get to work with is endlessly fascinating.
Your chapter's Indigo this evening, 7 o'clock.
Yes.
To talk about this book.
I'll be there.
So many people asked to come to the BT studios this morning to hang out with you. You can hang out with Martin Short at Chapters. Last question, because it's such a great story in this book, being sitting next to Johnny Carson for the first time.
Oh, you mean at the poker game?
Well, no, actually on his show, when you said this, I never imagined you as being scared of anything.
Well, the worst was when I went to a poker game, and I'd never met him, and Johnny Carson sitting. It was a rich people's poker game. Everyone was rich, you know. Carl Reiner and Neil Simon and Chevy Chase and Steve Martin brought me, and I was saying, Steve, it's too rich for my blood. He said, oh no, the most anyone's ever lost is $600, and you could win $600. And I was playing, you know, Johnny Carson's beside me. I'd never met him, nervous, and about 5 minutes in, I was down $1,800.
Whoops.
So I thought, well, I'm just going to keep folding, and I'll lose the ante. And I'd get 4 aces, fold, you know. And then there was a dinner halfway through, and I'm sitting beside Johnny and trying to be myself. And then Steve said something funny, and I went, and I had mashed potatoes in my mouth, and they flew out.
Oh, no.
And I knew they'd landed somewhere, but I didn't know where, and I kind of looked around, and they were on Johnny's hand right here. So then I looked away, and I looked back, and they were gone, so I just assumed he ate them.
Making his mark on the scene. Martin Short, thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
Sharing the stories behind the book. 7 p.m., Chapters on Robson. You can hear more and get to meet Martin Short himself.
You can?
And hear the love of Nan in here.
She's quite a chick.
It's an amazing story from beginning to end. As we said, we could do 2 hours with him just on this book.